What's up, y'all? I am back. I am ready. I have been working on a lot of stuff for this album, and I'm excited to show you what I got. So we are entering a new phase of making the album, and it is this phase. So in this polishing phase, I am kind of done creating things. I'm not really making any new songs. I'm not adding anything. I'm kind of cutting away as much as I can. So I've kind of found some songs that I really like. I got about 10 to 14 songs that I really like that I think are great for the album. I'm probably only going to stick with 10. And right now I'm really focusing on mixing and mastering. So I will give a little disclaimer before I even start this. I'm not an audio engineer. I'm not a mixing engineer. I'm not a mastering engineer. Pretty much self-taught. So if you see something that I'm doing in this video and you're like, yo, that's stupid, why did you do that? I don't know. Heard it on YouTube, read it somewhere. You can't always believe everything that you read on the internet or see on the internet, but it's also kind of hard to fact check stuff. So if you see something here and you're like, yo, that's stupid, don't do that, let me know. Drop a comment. Tell me right away so I can fix it. But yeah, with that, I'm not an audio engineer, not a mixing engineer, just kind of what I have learned. Big thing for me in the past is that I kind of over-mixed and over-mastered my stuff. Kind of did too much, put too many things on. So with all of these tracks, I'm really trying to keep it as simple as I possibly can. So I've kind of gone through and mixed everything one time and then kind of listened, made my notes. And so I kind of want to show you one that I think ended up pretty clean so far, and I really like it. There was just a couple tweaks that I had to make. And so when I'm mixing, I try to focus on a couple things. I try to focus on sends, pans, levels. So I'm really trying to focus on those three things and EQ. So those four things: sends, pans, levels, EQ. Because to me, those are the simplest things that make up a great mix. And if I can nail those, then I'm golden. I don't mix on big monitors because I have kids and I just can't play shit loud in my house. It just doesn't work out, and I won't even have time for that. I do everything super early in the morning. So I mix on these AKG 240s, K240 Studios. And then you'll see I also use a plugin called SoundId Reference, which kind of makes everything super flat. But yeah, enough of me talking. Let me hop into this. Let me show you what I do. Here is a track that I'm hoping I can release as a single. I have a good feeling about it as a single. I think it's pretty solid. I think it's probably something I can make a music video on. And so what I've done for all of these tracks is the first thing that I did was focus on sends. This one doesn't have too much panning. I pan the perks, the two different kind of perk top loops that I have. One goes a little bit left, one goes a little bit right. And I didn't really pan too much else because I don't want to mess with the stereo field and have too much shit on the left side and too much shit on the right side. I'm also not one of those super producers that has 91 tracks. There's 12 tracks. That's all I got. So I'm not trying to do too much. And then the second thing I focused on was sends. So I have a reverb send, this lush synth verb send, which I kind of sent everything to just a little bit, not too much, just a touch. You'll see on some of these, the drums, just a little bit of reverb. And then I had one for synths. So that's a delay, but it was the delay that I only wanted on the synths, which is called Replica XT, which is one of my favorites. And then I have a specific drum send, which is delay and some OTT. So I'll let you kind of take a listen. Just kind of hear what I got. And then on almost every instance of this track and most other tracks, I have an EQ, an EQ8. But I also have an EQ that I like to use called Claro. I like to use Claro is because it'll show me all the instances that I have, and it'll show me masking. And now there's going to be a little bit of masking. I try not to get rid of every single resonance. Right? I want to, some masking sounds good. So I try not to get rid of too much. But this shows me every single instance that I have this EQ. And I like it because it's got these 3 little modes. It's got this produce mode, which I kind of use at first so that I'm not relying on my eyes. And then this tweak mode, which I do rely a little bit more on my eyes. I feel like that's such a big dip. Which I do rely a little bit more on my eyes, but it also will let me see resonances. So if I create a point here and I make the Q really high, let's get it to play over here. Oops, wait a minute, all the way over here. So it'll show me resonances. Now there's not too much on this drum track, but it will highlight them in this kind of way. And then the mix mode where I get to kind of really take a look at everything. And I kind of do this sends thing where I have like a kind of reverb and then a delay and then a drum send on almost every track. Some of the tracks I'll have its own vocal send if I don't necessarily like how the send sounds with the first reverb. Or like the delay, I'll kind of create my own. And I kind of use the same reverbs for every track. I think there's a couple tracks where I use a reverb called ROM, which is from Native Instruments. So it kind of has more of like an icy sound. At least to me it does. More of a, I don't know, like churchy kind of sound. And so I'll use that. And this Neoverb to me has a little bit more of a warmer sound. So it depends on what track I'm using. And I'll also mess with the dry wet. And then I also like to EQ my reverb, my delay, so that there's not more low end if there is any low end coming in. And then sometimes I feel like the highs are a little bit too much for some reverbs, so I kind of cut it out. And that's kind of it. I didn't want to make this one of those videos where you're sitting watching me move EQ bands and do all that stuff, because to me that's, I don't know, I hate those videos. They're kind of annoying and they're way too long. So I kind of wanted to just pop in and kind of show you how I mix my tracks. Oh, and also one more thing. I have it on there right now. So this is SoundId, which I have disabled. All right, and then I can enable it, and it'll make it just a completely flat EQ curve, which is really nice if I'm mixing on headphones and I don't have the chance to do it on monitors. Now, something strange though that I noticed, and it didn't do this the first time I mixed it, was like it's redlining like crazy when this is on, but when I turn it off, it's not, and it sounded fine when I listened to it on headphones. So I'm not quite sure. I mean, maybe the bass is just way too loud for this flat target, you know? Because it gives it a big bass boost, because without it, these headphones aren't very bass heavy. So maybe that's what it is, because I like a big in-your-face kind of bass. And then I also will check my mix in mono. Does it still sound good? Does it still kind of have a little bit of width? How do the vocals sound? And does it really kind of open up when I take mono off? And so that's kind of my big thing for how I mix in the computer. Then I take it out and I listen on a couple different things. I listen on some kind of earbud style Samsung Pro earbuds. I listen on these, which are kind of like the more 90s, I wouldn't say 90s, but like early 2000s style, just like cans that I love. Like I like kind of feeling immersed in the sound. And then I listen on my phone speakers, and then I listen on in my car. The car is like the biggest test for me because I listen to a lot of music in the car. I feel like a lot of people listen to music in the car. So like if it sounds good in the car and it sounds good in some like earbud headphones, I can be pretty solid. So yeah, that's kind of what I do for mixing. And then when I'm done mixing all these tracks, I'll move into mastering and I'll kind of show you what I do for that. I feel like this video is a lot more of me talking, a lot less of you being able to listen to things. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to play the whole song out and you can kind of take a listen to my mix. And if you hear any glaring things, let me know. Drop a comment. And peace until the next one.
Got me feeling so long.